Welcome to Connecting Suppliers and Buyers, our ongoing conversation series where we create an open dialogue about challenges the pandemic created, success stories, and everything in between. The way we network has changed, so let's figure it out. Let's conversate.
Sure thing. Yeah, thanks, Chris. And I appreciate you guys having me on here. It's been great for us. The relationship with JMU, it's been incredible. So, my name is Brent Elliott. My company name is Positive Pressure, and our services are more on the side of exterior and interior commercial cleaning. It comprises well, we started out with pressure washing, commercial and industrial buildings, and now we clean exteriors as well, and partly interiors also. So it's uh, it's been a great ride getting into the system of the higher education and Vast Cup and Swam. So far away with the questions.
Yeah, I guess, well, to start, it was about, what, 2 years ago now that we met. We were at VMI at the networking
Yeah.
event, and this is kind of where this whole idea came from, is that we've kind of missed out on being able to go to those events now with this past year in the pandemic. Um, so yeah, 2 years ago you were at VMI and you were looking to get into higher education. Can you kind of talk about what's come since then? You know, what's happened since then? Have you gotten to higher education? Where are you at now?
Yeah, that was a probably the best Kickstarter for me. I just started a company. It was about 6 months. It may not have been 6 months in. I think that I may have been like 3 months old at that point. And I was looking at my business model. I knew that I wanted to go after higher education some way or somehow. And I just started my SWAM certification. So I was in the process of doing that. And I guess from going through the registration and looking at the site, I saw or I got an email about the VMI event. And so I scrambled to get registered and got down there and just, wasn't sure what to expect really. Um, there were a lot of folks there, but the environment was really helpful. And that was the key thing. I knew I was in the right place at the right time. Just trying to sort out everything and figure out who I need to talk to in different departments. Just trying to understand the dynamics of how a school operates and uh, who really manages what we can provide a service for. And that's where we came. I came in as far as just talking to everybody that was there. I think I forgot her name at VMI, but she's the one who introduced me to you, Chris, and it was really cool. Just getting to know all these folks, and everyone was so helpful, man. And that was the part that was a relief. It was like, hey, if you're here, you're putting in the effort, and you're utilizing the programs that we're trying to do for outreach, then we will help you. And that's we haven't looked back since, really, from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you say that because I was listening to another podcast this morning, and he actually said, he's like, people want to empower other people who want to be successful. So
Yeah.
it seems like that was something that happened out of that event for you. Can you talk about a little bit about how it was, maybe the difficulties like of learning how each school works differently? You know, VMI has maybe probably different procurement process, or how you get into the process rather than JMU. I know here at JMU, it's probably you're working with so many facilities
Hmm.
rather than in procurement. And can you talk a little bit about how the difficulties of that and how to work through that, or anything that might be helpful for somebody that's looking to get into the Vast Cup world?
Yeah, so you're right. Everybody is different. You know, VMI, University of Mary Washington, JMU, Virginia Tech, um, George Mason. Those are the the one that was kind of that circuit that I made rounds with during that first 6 months. And yeah, everybody's process was different. It's and that's the important part. Just talk and ask as many questions as you can to get to where you need to get to. And some processes were uh, like not as developed as others, I would say. Uh, JMU, you guys, I tell folks, well, when we had these conferences, like at the Swam Fest, that was one thing I always, mentioned to people I was meeting there, other vendors. It's like, man, go talk to JMU. They are the most they got their systems and processes, and they're aggressive to help you. And I went to some other schools, and I can tell you, it was like you're just left out there to the wolves. I mean, you could, they didn't have a lot of processes put in place, but you guys were the best as far as having a stepwise organization and um, you know being willing to do whatever it took to help out. So that was great.
I get one thing that would be helpful for. I mean, it's I don't want anybody to get it confused as far as like we met you at VMI and then all of
Mm.
a sudden you just got work at JMU just like that.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about like maybe the timeline? I mean, I know you've done work at the stadium, the football stadium, right? And maybe
Yeah, I
some
think that was
more.
where we started. Yep.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know
I talked
one,
to the one guy facilities. He had nothing but good things to say about your work, and I think it was
Patrick.
yeah, I believe it was him, and but basically it was like you were doing too much at the one time. Like it was like
Oh God,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's they. So Shoker's, well, not Shoker, but um,
Bridgeport.
Bridgeport. The stadium is huge.
Yeah,
It's it's like half of an NFL stadium, and we came in there and started cleaning. And the I guess the work order, the expectation was to kind of wash off a lot of the debris from the prior game, and we were power washing and pressure washing specialists. So I'm looking to get all the dirt and grime off every bleacher and seat. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He's like, you're never gonna finish. So it took us. I got the gist of it that day. That was a lot of work, and it's overwhelming because that stadium is so huge. But by the time we got in there after the second or third game, we actually, I think Patrick, when he did the comparison, we had saved them so much money. They were using about a crew of in-house, I think a crew of 4 or 5, and it would take them about 2 to 3 days to clean everything.
wow.
And I got my processes down where we were at a crew of 4 one day, and
Wow.
it was like super clean. So they were really happy with that. Uh, and yeah, we were just blowing and going. That started the relationship at JMU, and that was after you guys had a your own Swam Fest um,
Mhm.
on campus as well, so where I met more of your staff and more of the vendors. I got a chance to talk to vendors that were working with you guys already and how the process was. So that was really cool to see because it was a lot of good information, and I kept in touch and followed up and did my part toward just letting you guys know what my service was, and we were ready to deploy. And we got a call, a little bit while later, and we were off and going. And after that, Shoker Hall.
I was
Um,
going to say, you've also had some success on capital projects here, correct?
yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Shoker Hall started, which we would always be able to see the groundwork of that when we came to clean the stadium. And so there was a need for a couple of things there. You know, general labor and just a couple of helping hands around that site as it was being built out and developed, as well as the pressure washing needs for it.
Mhm.
So we did get a call over there, and they kind of heard that we were doing a great job, and we're actually still there today, in that
Yeah,
inside that project. Yep. And that's been a blessing. And it was a challenge because I wasn't initially in that general labor. So the that's one thing I'll say. You have to be agile and flexible toward the work that you do,
yeah,
um, when the opportunities arise. So it wasn't just in that niche of pressure washing at the time.
Mhm.
The need was tied to um, having that labor and those extra hands. They were having a problem grabbing talent locally to help out on the project, and so they asked if we could, and we were able to fill that spot and do great things. And they were actually
that's awesome.
carrying.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome. And I'm
yeah.
sure it's going to lead to more opportunities as well with within that
Well, yeah,
construction firm as well.
it actually does. So that actually carries us to uh, the GC there at that project was Kelstrom and Lee,
Mhm.
and that actually they're putting us, or we were able to bid on their project at Virginia Polytechnic or Virginia Tech. So they've got the award for the data science center there, and we are at the very beginning, and we're going to be actually starting that, I think, next week, hopefully.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
Congratulations. That is so cool.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yep.
It really
Yeah.
is cool to
It's
hear
been,
such a story like that where when we met you, you had only started 3 months into the business, and now look at, I mean, 2 years later, you're working construction management projects, Bridgeford Stadium. You're at Virginia Tech too? So I mean,
yep.
yeah, it's
Yep.
really cool.
Yep. So we're getting ready to start at Virginia Tech, uh, and we're still at JMU. So we've you know last year we doubled in revenue and in size, and my projections, looking at our model, we're hopefully going to grow by about 60% this year as well.
Wow. So the pandemic didn't really slow you down at all, did it?
Pandemic just kind of mushroomed our business because, again, the agility and being flexible. So we were in the cleaning business, whether it be exterior or inside, doing that. So that catapulted us to our customers asking, well, hey, and this is at the beginning of the pandemic, can you guys disinfect or keep a site clean? And I said, sure, we can.
Yeah.
Uh, so I actually got certified with my HAZWOP for hazardous materials handling, and that was a challenge. Not the certification, but the supply chain. So
Yeah.
I actually was able to find a local uh, manufacturer that made uh, EPA certified disinfectants that they had already tested against the coronavirus, and so we were fortunate because we had the supply. Um, that was the biggest piece that, in the beginning of this thing, everybody was rushing to any store, buying all the bleach, buying all the toilet paper. I don't know what the coronavirus has to do with toilet paper, but
Paper towels. Yeah.
yeah. So if you had supplies, you had business. And we had supplies. We had the electrostatic foggers.
Yeah.
Um, and so that also opened up a whole new leg of business for us, in being able to provide that to our existing customers and also being able to market that to new customers.
And I apologize. I did a poor job in the beginning, but you're in Warrenton, right?
Yeah, we're based out of Warrenton, Virginia. Um, but as far as the jobs that we've done throughout the state of Virginia, from Tidewater to as far southwest as Roanoke, Richmond, and Northern Virginia. So
Yes.
we'll go anywhere that the business demands. We haven't done, and I've been happy about this. We actually haven't done a lot in DC. I did want to pursue the schools in the district, but it's just such a headache getting there uh, with
Yeah,
the mixing bowl. So we found that hey, stay on this side of the state and away from 66 to 495 as much as you can, and it saves us a lot of money in just fuel expense and time. And so
yeah.
we've been able to kind of use that as our tool, and it's been a smart move for us.
Since you just mentioned it, I'm going to go ahead and segue that to, and it would be perfect time and time management. I wanted to talk a little bit about maybe you as a business owner, entrepreneur. How do you work on that? Like manage your time, your schedule of the day. Back when we were going to uh, events such as this, like, can you talk a little bit about how you might map out what you're going to do for the day, week, month, to be successful, or as successful as you've been?
Yeah. So when I started out, so this was my first, uh, I guess, service based or labor based business. I had other businesses before this, and I understood processes and systems pretty well. So I was trying to implement that. The biggest thing toward that time management and starting out, which was it was a little frustrating, but I did it with intent to understand what I was going to do because I didn't have the background in pressure washing before I launched the company. Quite honestly, so I wanted to work in it instead of on it uh,
Hmm.
during that first 6 months, so that I understood exactly what the challenges were in the field, how long things would take, and how I could tweak my processes even further. And so that lasted a little bit longer than I expected as far as me being in the field. But it was actually it paid off pretty well because it actually gave me a chance to develop my customers a little bit better, and also build those relationships and understand personalities with my staff. And so now my biggest thing is working on the business and making sure that I assign um, key people into different positions or grow my staff so that they take on new roles. So I try to promote um, each one of my uh, guys to do more uh, when we do reviews. So I try to set up like KPIs for them or key performance indicators through skill sets that they learn. So my sort of thought process is okay, how do I get my time back? So when you ask about the time
Mhm.
management, every quarter I look at what are the things that I have to do in the business that someone else could do so that I can focus on business development and just a general oversight of direction and vision. So we start really early, especially in the summer because we got to daylight is way earlier than in the winter.
Right.
So my day usually starts around 5 o'clock. And so, yeah, but I actually like that.
Yeah.
It's that early start deal. Uh, and so usually I'll set a limit on, uh, doing our morning huddle with the guys, uh, about 20 minutes there, and make sure that everybody's kind of deployed within that first hour. Everybody's set to the sites that they're supposed to be at, and then once that happens, I'm looking at, how do I? So this is the other piece now toward time management. Time management is a different discussion now that we're in a pandemic and everybody's at home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've got young kids, and so that just threw a huge wrench into the time management because I was usually out either checking on customers, doing business development, or I was at my office, doing the administrative side, or some form of paperwork, ordering materials or something. So now it's like you have to be able to do most of that at home, and have the distractions of home be a part of it. And that part is kind of cool, being a father of three young kids. It doesn't matter um, what profession you're in. I was actually looking at there's a company that we were looking at yesterday, um, that they got a lawsuit going on, and we could actually tune in to the first pretrial hearing, and it's a supplier of us. So we were trying to find out if they're going to be able to still produce the product that we use.
Mhm.
So just out of curiosity, I was like, all right, let me check this pretrial. So it's a debate on patents and distribution. But the point being is that this was an official pretrial. The judge comes in, she's on the line, defendant, the plaintiff, and I'm not sure if it was the judge or if it was the attorneys for the plaintiff, but somebody like forgot to mute. They're telling their kids to sit down, get out of their office, you know. And it's just a, it's just it's a way of life now.
Yeah, it's just the reality of the situation is like,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 It's like they come back in. So, it was like nobody was surprised. It was like, okay, wow, this is like court, virtual court, but
Yeah.
the kids are still there. But it's like you have to adapt to that in running a business, especially when the business is not, or it is where we provide a physical service.
Mhm.
So that can be a challenge that I had to, it took a while for me to adjust to that. So for my time management, to adjust on that, I do blocks of 4 hours in the office, and usually 4 hours in the field. And they can change based on where I need to be or what's going on any of the days, but I try to block it in that way. And that's been going pretty well. That's been going pretty well. But you have to be nimble because things pop up, equipment breaks, or you know, back home, you know, somebody got hurt,
Mhm.
or somebody's,
Sick.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
all those
Something.
How
things.
neat though for your kids to be able to see you, more intimately involved in your job and kind of have a better understanding of what you're doing and who you are as a worker and as a boss.
Yeah, that's been yeah, the confinements of the pandemic have been, um, you know, beneficial for me personally as well as career wise.
Yeah.
Because, when you're starting a new business, that's one of the things, it is one of your other babies, and you got to give it a lot of time. And
Mhm.
so being able to be at home uh, a lot more has been really really great. And sometimes I'll try to take one of them out in the field with me if I don't have to, get out of the truck, so to speak, and chip in.
Mhm.
If things are going smooth and we're just kind of, I'm checking on the site, then I'll try to bring one of them with me, and they just love it because they
Yeah.
Oh,
they
I
know that.
bet.
Yeah, yeah. So that's been kind of cool. Plus they know they're gonna get probably a treat at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
that's
gotta
me
throw a
now.
little, extra in there.
Yeah,
You'll be the good
Slurpee
guy.
or something.
Right. But no, it has been real good. I really I I definitely miss the conferences. Every single conference I went to was extremely productive. Swam Fest, you all's swam conference, VMI, we we got new relationships every time.
Yeah.
And so, to see it not be able to, you know, be held this year, it's been unfortunate. I just attended the Port of Authority, Hampton Roads,
Mhm.
uh, and it was just so different. I mean, you can't interact, so it's hard to network uh, during these virtual conferences. You have to, so that's where I'm in my I guess mode of uh, learning to adapt
Right.
to it all, um, because it's definitely a little bit more challenging when you've got to figure out how to connect with people uh,
Yeah,
when you're just you know,
Through a screen.
on a
Yeah.
through a
screen.
screen through a screen, or watching their PowerPoint, you know,
Mhm.
and you're muted out so you can't ask questions. So
Yeah.
different
That's
dynamics.
yeah. That is. I mean, yeah. You're completely right about that. Yeah. It's a way to still network, but it's also. I mean, it's just difficult for people's personalities and certain other things. The way that they handle technology. It could
Yeah.
be a array of all kinds of things that could throw a wrench into that. That doesn't. It's not the normal interaction that we're used to.
Yeah, I mean, those conferences, I've always understood that to, really exploit the fact that people have to know who they're dealing with. They want to know the customer. They want to know if they're gonna. They want to be able to judge your character, uh,
Right.
and they want to hear your story. And that's the key advantage of that. So I hope we get back to it as quick as possible, because
Yeah,
we got a great story and we got a great reputation. And I would, and the conferences are fun too. Just to get
they
out.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's hopefully what we're trying to accomplish here too, is to get your story out and spread it as much as possible, as in um, grow businesses and do the networking thing like we are through this way. Like you said, that you have to adapt. That's what we're trying to do, is adapt to the situation. We try to think of something that we could do to help businesses, small businesses in particular, small women and minority owned businesses.
Yeah.
Hopefully this has been um, a useful conversation for you. Good use of your time
Yeah.
today.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I really enjoyed talking with you today. I don't really have any other questions or anything. If Caroline has anything that she
No,
wanted
I
to
think
add.
just if you want to just end by letting people know kind of what's on the horizon for you all, and just reminding them of the services that you provide. So we
Yep.
make sure to really highlight that, and just hopefully people will see this and can make contact with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. So again, our core services now, uh, I guess you could kind of make them into divisions. That's the exterior cleaning, which tends to primarily be the pressure washing. In particular, we um, have a great expertise in stucco, or like Drive It or EFIS cleaning, which a lot of guys have a lot of trouble with, because you can easily damage that stuff
Mhm.
when you're cleaning it, and it's so porous. That's usually what you see that turns into this nasty mildewy stuff on the outside of buildings. So we're probably one of the best ones out there to clean that stuff. On the inside, um, construction, as well as uh, added support labor for janitorial services, and of course with the pandemic, we are one of the certified, and we follow all CDC protocols for coronavirus cleaning, and we're fully equipped to do it. Um, so that's been more of the same that we're pursuing, uh, and just hoping to build more relationships with more schools, and through that Vast Cup, and just keep going there. I would love to be in the stadiums once everything really picks back up. You know, like uh, Zane, I think is Virginia Tech's stadium.
Yeah,
Uh,
or Lane Stadium.
Lane.
Lane, there we
Mhm.
go, Lane, and then uh, UVA Stadium. I would love to be, in all those stadiums, and do that same service that we do at JMU.
Right.
So, and that was one of the things I was planning to, uh, you know, pursue this year, but then all the schedules got, everything got canceled. So and just moved around. So maybe this year we can have that conversation. So our website is being updated right now. You can find us at www.pospress. So it's short for positive pressure, POSPRESS DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia, where we primarily serve. So pospressdmv.com. So feel free to contact us there. And thanks, guys. And we hope to be a big part of JMU's services moving forward again.
Thanks, Brent. Really appreciate it.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much, Brent.
No problem. Thank you.